Welcome to the 2021 NMOA State Clinic. My name is Nate Acosta, for anybody that is a brand new official or for veteran officials who still don't know who I am. I am the assistant to the Commissioner of Officials. Currently, I am Dana's assistant, soon to be somebody else's assistant. But with that, I do want to introduce our Assistant Director and Director of Volleyball, Tammy Richards. And let me go ahead and hold on, change the settings, Tammy, because I don't believe you can unmute yourself. There you go, Tammy. You should be able to unmute yourself. So with that, Tammy Richards.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us. I'm going to keep it very short and brief so we can focus on our points of emphasis and rule changes. I do want to thank you all for the cluster of 2020-21 school year, and looking forward to a lot of normal activity and supporting you guys under more normal circumstances in the fall. So thanks for all that you do, and for our assigners. Hopefully we won't have as many interruptions and the need for as much flexibility, but I'm going to thank you in advance as we still don't have outlines and guidelines for the upcoming school year. So I appreciate each and every one of you and the servant leadership that you provide to all of our schools, and I look forward to seeing you on the court.
All right. So before I hand it over to Dana, I just obviously I think a majority of you know that this is going to be Dana's last state clinic, and with that, obviously, we are definitely going to miss her and her leadership and just everything that she has done for this association. A while back, I had written some officiating rules to live by, and really kind of inspired by my own officiating career, some mentors, but mainly Dana. I think that these 10 rules represent everything that she has taught us over the past 24 years. And really, I think it's a good way to start off this portion of the clinic. And so I'm going to play this 2-minute video, and then we'll get into our rules clinic. All right, so just a little rules or officiating rules to live by, and I think that last one, Rule 10, as far as joining the association, you become part of this family, and I think that Dana has always treated this organization like family, and as we move forward and we have a new leader, I think we continue on the foundation that she has laid for us, and we continue the family. So, you know, we are all part of this organization. We're all in this together. Even with Dana leaving, this is still a family. We just have a family member that just moved across the country, and she will always be a part of the family. And as long as we continue that that motto and that's those rules to live by, I think that Dana will be happy to know that we've continued on. So with that, Dana Pappas.
Good morning, everybody. And first and foremost, I'm looking as the chat is rolling. You don't need to put your name and group in the chat. It's just really on the participant list. If you don't know how to do that, to change your name, just let us know in the chat. But otherwise, you don't need to put your information there. So good morning. And yeah, this is my 25th and final state clinic. And I'm telling you, we had 3 sessions for basketball last night. We've got 3 volleyball and 3 football today. And these are not getting any easier. So, you know, some of you who were on basketball last night heard me say that Thursday we had our executive board meeting, and it was one of those things, you all know I'm a big nerd. And I sat down and looked, and Thursday night was my 57th executive board meeting, which like it's staggering to think about. And this is my 25th state clinic. And, you know, there's been so much learned and so much that I'm excited about for the future of the NMOA. And, you know, we had a session last night about the show must go on, and it's going to. And, you know, the NMOA is always going to be here to support you, and I'll always be around to support you. I'm just going to be in a different zip code and area code. So you all know they'll be cheering from you from afar, and always keeping one eye on New Mexico, because you're all definitely a part of me and who I am as a person and professional. So Nate, thank you for that. And everybody, good morning. I heard some people talking about, man, it's too early for this. But the good news is you can do this from the comfort of your couch, and some of you didn't have to drive 5 hours. So that's still a good thing. So we'll get started. This morning's session, of course, is our NFHS rules changes and points of emphasis. And our presenter this year is Steve Franco. I asked Steve for a bio, and he gave me 2 versions. So his first version was 1 line, and it said, volleyball is my passion. And that was it. But I was like, okay, Steve, everybody knows that about you. So I'll actually give you his real bio. So Steve began officiating volleyball in 1991. He has held the positions of president, clinician, and supervisory board member for the Central Region Volleyball Officials Association, and has presented at various clinics for the NMAA and NMOA. Steve has worked 9 state volleyball championships and is currently an NCAA Division I, Division II, and junior college referee. He was recently elected to the USA Volleyball Administrative Council for Officials as the at-large indoor representative for national referees. So to sum it up again, volleyball is his passion, and he's here to share that passion and his knowledge with us today. So Steve, we're going to turn it over to you, sir.
Well, good morning. That helps. Okay. Good morning, everybody. Welcome Saturday morning. For those of you that I can see, that's a great opportunity to recognize some familiar faces. And for those that I cannot, I'm sure that you're sitting down either eating your burrito, or you're still in your pajamas, or you're drinking something like Nora is. Yeah, you bet. Okay, so the first of all, again, Dana and Nate and Tammy, thank you for the opportunity to make the presentation this year. Hopefully I don't stumble too much, so bear with me on this one. Let me see. Do I just go and share the screen?
Yep, and make sure you select your PowerPoint in the option.
Right. Okay. There it is, and share. And there we are.
You're already off to a great start, Steve.
Awesome. Okay, so again, if you guys have any questions or anything in the chat, I'm sure somebody will be monitoring that. So Dana or Nate, Tammy, please kind of help me out in that regard. I would appreciate it. Okay, so if we are ready to start, you can see that there's going to be some rule changes It says major editorial changes. Actually, the editorial changes are quite minor and really not that big a deal. But there are a number of points of emphasis that we'd like to go over this morning. So again, the presentation by the New Mexico Activity Association and the New Mexico Officials Association, obviously members of the NFHS. So the NFHS, basically, you can see that real quick, because I'm really not sure how this is working. Can everybody see the same screen, the entire screen? Okay,
Yep.
perfect. Okay, because I've got something here in my way. I'm just trying to move it out of the way. All right. But you can see that the United States is broken up into 8 different regions. We happen to be in region number 6. They're broken up for that particular reason, just because of the amount of personnel and the amount of administration that has to be covered throughout the United States. And if you look to the kind of the central northeast, you'll see area number 4, and that's where Dana is going to be residing here in the next couple of months. So again, congratulations to Dana for all the hard work that she's done, and hope you enjoy Indianapolis. Maybe we'll have an opportunity to meet at our girls' national championship next June or July. It will be held in Indianapolis. Anyway, the federation, you can see for yourself, they write rules for 17 different high schools, serving 51 state associations. That would include the, I believe, District of Columbia, where Washington, D.C. is located at. The Rules Committee, these are the folks that define and determine the rules for all 17 sports. If you look in the number 2 person, Lindsay Atkinson, she is primarily responsible for girls lacrosse and volleyball. So she's going to be our primary focus for any rule changes regarding volleyball, and then the rest of the committee reviews those for approval. Again, this is just more administrative stuff for everybody. Again, just the rule books, the 17 rule books in sports that NFHS rules on. This is kind of interesting. I don't know how many of you have done this already, but you can download the rule book. You can download the rule book by going to down here. You can see it says download from iTunes or Amazon. You can go to the Google Play Store, and you can look up the rules to download the app feature. You can also go to this particular website, download the app. This is a great app. I highly recommend everybody goes to their phone and hopefully downloads this. What I've been doing the past couple of weeks from time to time is this particular part right here, quizzes for all sports. So you get to this page and you can scroll down here at the bottom, and you can get to volleyball, and there's various quizzes of 10 questions. What's really nice is when you answer that particular question, you can, what's what I'm looking for? You answer the question, you get immediate feedback and the rule number. So if you're wrong, then you can reference that rule out of the rule book. It's really a great feature. I highly recommend everybody put that on your phone.
Yep. Steve,
yes, sir.
Real quick, and currently, if you try to go in right now today, you will be charged to $6.99. I will send out information next week. I've got to add it on the back end, and you guys will receive that as part of your membership. So if you are registered, if you're not registered, you obviously will not receive information on how to download the app for free. But as of next week early, you will have access, and you will receive an email if you are registered.
Yep, that's awesome. I'm kind of torn on this one. Okay, now if you talk to Steve Franco, I'm on the fence, because I think it's always great to have immediate access to your rule book, especially because everybody's going to carry their phone. Not everybody carries their rule book. But in restaurants or different conversations, you don't have the rule book. It's nice to have the book on your phone. Now, where I am on the fence on this is sometimes it's easier to open up your phone if you're working a match between matches or as an R2 during a match, and you need to reference something out of your rule book, it may not be the best position if you're on the court and all of a sudden you pull your phone out and now you're trying to look up something on you're trying to look up a rule on your phone. Okay. Think about what it looks like from the stands looking down and the referee is on his phone. Okay. It's probably not the best thing. Now, if you're looking at your rule book, that probably would look a lot better. It gives a much better appearance that you're looking for something official as opposed to looking for football scores or baseball scores on your phone. Again, that's nothing more than the perception. Okay. I am a huge fan of downloading the information on your phone. It's great, but just be aware of when you're using that device and what kind of perception you might be giving. But I really do highly recommend that you download it. I was wondering about the $6.99 thing, so thank you, Nate, for that information. But as a member of the NMAA, you do get this app for free, and it's a great tool. I highly recommend it. Okay, this right here is actually nothing but a flow chart, not necessarily for officials, but something that we want to be aware of. This is a flow chart, like it says, consideration for accommodations. This is for students that, that have disabilities. Okay, that may need additional assistance during their play. This is something officials should not have to worry about. But if you do have a player on the court that has a disability that needs special accommodation, normally you can see the flow chart. The request would go from the student to the school or the coach, and then the short story is all that information would be forwarded up to the state. The state would award an authorization letter for the student to play with whatever accommodation they have. And then if necessary, the coach and the player could present that letter to the official saying, saying or indicating that the player is authorized to play with, say, let's say a hard helmet if they've had a history of concussions, or a full face mask, some sort of brace, I'm assuming a brace or cast in that regard, as long as that equipment would not provide an advantage during play. Does that make sense to everybody? I certainly hope so, because I kind of felt awkward explaining that. But short story is, if the coach and player present you a letter, then you know what, it's good with it. You should be good with it. Allow them to play. If you have any doubts, again, allow them to play, and then follow up with a written note to the NMAA indicating your particular situation, and they will follow up accordingly. Okay, so let's get to some rule changes if we're ready. Again, if you have any comments, questions, please put them in the chat, and then somebody will interrupt me, and then we can answer that appropriately. This is brand new. Now, headgear or head coverings for religious reasons will be allowed for all players. Okay, for the yarmulke for boys, like you can read, legal hair devices, bobby pins, flat clips no longer than 2 inches, need to secure the head covering. And the same thing for the girls. If they're wearing some sort of head covering that could be loose or come loose during play, as long as it's securely attached, as long as it's securely attached to the head with the legal devices, we're good to go. Okay, they no longer need a letter for head coverings. The only time it's going to come in play is at the very bottom. You can read head coverings worn for medical reasons, still must have a state association approval. And that would be like more of a helmet, it would, but then again, it would have to be probably a soft helmet rather than a hard plastic. Okay, so again, this is new. Anybody with a religious head covering, let it go. Just let it go. This information, I asked a question earlier. I don't know, maybe Dana can help me fill in the blanks, but NFHS has allowed referees to wear 3 different color shirts, which is absolutely, it's great because now we have options. Some people don't like the options. White is always good because it's just one less shirt to buy, if you will. All right, but I'm not exactly sure if our state has adopted this. Dana,
Yep.
Can you help me with this one?
Yeah, I'll fill you in, Steve.
great.
So board meeting on Thursday, it was a lengthy conversation. We will be sending out a survey to poll the volleyball population to see if this is the route they want to. Obviously, there will be a couple things that come with that, whether one company can Smitty make it happen since they are our sponsor, and 2, I think the concern was blue versus gray and different shades, and making sure that we all have the same shade, and then of course a logo, the NMOA logo on the sleeve, yes or no. So that will be a survey that will go out this week.
Awesome. Okay. For me personally, again, I like the idea of multicolored shirts. It just throws a little bit of variety in our uniform. I do have, for those of you that officiate NCAA and USA Volleyball, no, we will not be allowed to wear the shirts that we currently have. Okay, because the NMOA has, like Nate's indicated, that the logo must be the same for everybody. Okay, so real quick, just to show, you can see the color of blue, the cayenne color. All right, so this is, you can see me, this is primarily the color of shirt of blue, the cayenne that we're looking for. The logo that we have all used on this particular shirt, let me see if I can hold that up. There you go. That is a certified volleyball official logo that we have on our shirt. You can see that the shirt does have piping on it along the side. And this is the gray color shirt, same exact thing. Okay. So we'll get the survey and we'll determine, you guys can make the determination whether you would like the multicolored shirts or if you just want to stay with a standard white. There's pros and cons to both, and I'm not going to get into that, but you guys can figure that on your own. So any questions, comments? Not yet? All right, moving on. By state adoption, everybody knows that it does get warm here in New Mexico, so we can wear shorts, okay, which is a great thing. We can also, when it's cold, and it does get cold in some areas of the state, we are allowed a pullover. Okay, again, the pullover must be unadorned with any kind of logo. We want to make sure that, again, it's just a solid white color. Excuse me, if the NMA decides to put a logo on a sweatshirt, then I'm sure that would be appropriate as well to stay warm. But again, this is all by state adoption, and a lot of us have been around for a long time. So we pretty much know what uniform it is. The first year officials, again, check with your local group to determine what the uniform requirements would be for your area, what you allow, what you don't allow. Some of the local areas may be a little bit more restrictive, but nevertheless, the state has adopted, again, shorts and the white pullover. Let's see. Okay. All right. This is definitely a big change for us. Okay. You can see that everybody that's been around, you can see that the official is holding up a unnecessary delay. Now, this unnecessary delay is when the coach submits a lineup to the second referee no later than 2 minutes prior to the first set or the timed pre-match warm-up. Okay. This is due to this allows the rules to fall in line with submitting the roster to the second referee at the pre-match conference. Okay, so basically the rule is when let's kind of back up a little bit. When you have your pre-match conference, the coaches are supposed to provide you a roster. Okay, if they do not provide you a roster, then you are to administer a team delay prior to the start of the match. Why? Because they did not provide you a roster. To fall in line with submitting the correct paperwork on time, if the coach does not provide you a lineup, 2 minutes, and you can see the clock right here, it is 1 minute and 30 seconds. And then the lineup is being handed in. If you don't get the lineup prior to 2 minutes, again, that would be a team delay. Now, here's the key to this. Because the administrative delays increase, if the coach does not provide you, if the coach does not provide you a roster at the pre-match conference, then you would issue a team delay. Correct? Follow me so far? Okay. Now, at 1 minute and 30 seconds, the coach finally gives you a lineup prior to the first set. Would you offer, or would you sanction them with a second team delay warning? Okay, to the best of my knowledge, and Nora can help me correct this, but to the best of my knowledge, if you have given a team delay warning in the first set, and then a second team delay warning is warranted, that second team delay warning would be a penalty, a team delay penalty, because they excel. You cannot receive 2 yellow cards for the same reason. Does that make sense? Okay, hopefully you shouldn't get there, because preventive officiating is going to help that. And if the coach forgets, that light is bothering me, I'm sorry about that. But if the coach forgets to give you the lineup, or I'm sorry, if the coach forgets to give you the roster at the pre-match conference, all you got to do is remind them. Maybe they forgot it, it's sitting on their clipboard on their chair. It's like, oh yeah, I'll give it to you in a second. Or they may run back and get it. But let's be preventative. Let's not be headhunters looking to issue team delays. Does that make sense? Okay, but remember, the sanctions do excel. Now,
Steve, we always knew you were an angel. That's what the light is.
yeah, I'll just move that. The sun is just directly behind me, and I don't want to open the blinds because that's going to make it even worse. Maybe I can hold it. All right. Well, thanks for the vote of confidence, Nate. Okay, so moving forward, let's just say everything has been perfect to this point. The coach gives you the lineup late, okay, and you get the yellow card. Now, right here, you can see that the official is holding up a team delay penalty. If the coach has not submitted the lineup by the pregame warm-up, a subsequent unnecessary delay or red card is assessed at the start of set 1, which results in the loss of rally. Okay, so again, if they have, you shouldn't be even getting to this point. Nevertheless, it's something that we need to do. You shouldn't be getting to this point. Why? Because you should be proactive. You know, about 2.5 minutes, if you haven't gotten the lineup, walk up to the coach. Coach, are we ready to submit the lineup? If the lineup has not been submitted at 2 minutes, then you are free and clear to give the team delay yellow card. And then, but if they get to the point where the time has run out, cut to the chase and issue a red card, because they should have been on top of it sooner than that. Does that make sense? Okay. Right here, this is almost going to look like the same thing. However, right here, lineups are due to the second referee no later than 1 minute prior to the end of the timed interval for intermissions or between sets. So if we go back This first yellow card and this red card are for the first match. And that's 2 minutes prior to the end of the time warm-up or at the end of the time warm-up for the first set, my bad, for the first set. Right here, this is for the second, third, fourth, and fifth sets. You can see that at 30 seconds, okay, it's too late. The lineup should be in 1 minute prior to the first, second, third, or fourth or fifth sets. You have a administrative yellow card if there's time remaining. If time runs out, guess what? Time has run out, and a side out point or a point will be awarded, a rally point will be awarded to the appropriate team. That makes sense? This is almost, if you look at it, the slides are almost identical. The difference is the time on the clock. One is for these first two slides are for the first set of the match. The next two slides are for the concurring sets. Are we good with that? All right. And that's really it for all the rule changes. We only have basically the 3 rule changes. We have the headgear, the uniform change, and then the unnecessary delay and unnecessary penalty or unnecessary delay penalty. All right. Are we good with the chat? I haven't seen it, so hopefully we're good. All right. Editorial changes. This is good. This is new. This is kind of interesting. Interesting to see. But like it says on page 72, let me move. Oh, let me go back. Hit the wrong button. On page 72, you'll see, excuse me, state association adoption chart. These are all the rules that can be adopted and modified by the state association. So if the NMAA has decided to modify or adopt any one of these changes, this is the rule that you can find it under. Okay, and these are very generic. Why? Because these adoptions can either be adopted by any association in the country or not. Okay, it's just something that it's just something administrative for us to look at. If we look at number 7, determining if the line judges will be provided by someone other than the host school. That's by state adoption. Okay, sometime in some schools, maybe the visiting school will have to provide. Maybe the you have somebody that wants to be a line judge that is not that's not a member of either school. That can be adopted by the state. Nevertheless, this is something that if you have that burning desire to take a look to see if our state has adopted it, by all means. In most cases, we should all know what the state has adopted or not. These are really kind of insignificant editorial changes. All they've done is add the words direct and the, or the, and that's just simply for grammatic correction. So it doesn't change the meaning of the rule. It was just done to correct the verbiage to make it more grammatically correct. Okay. And if you look in the book, you'll see that these words are actually, this word actually says directing, and the word the is deleted or is not in the rule book at all. So they just added those words to make the change, to make it grammatically correct. Points of emphasis. Okay, this is where we're going to earn a lot of our money. The points of emphasis. This is stuff that is reoccurring that we need to work on year after year after year. Again, it's just a point of emphasis. It's not a rule change. It's not a new rule. It's something that we've done on a regular basis for a very, very long time. Meeting with the line judges. Okay, meeting with the line judges. How important is that? Yes, it is. Why? Because the officials include not only the R1, the R2, the score table, but definitely the line judges. They're definitely going to help you. They're definitely going to help you throughout the match. And sometimes there's a conflict. There's a conflict between coaches and line judges. Okay. If a ball is out and the line judge calls in, what do you go with? Do you go with the coach or do you go with the line judge? Because normally, what is the coach going to say? Well, why do you have line judges? Right? Why do you have line judges? Well, for me, the line judges are there to actually verify what I see or what I don't see. That's why I have a line judge. If the line judge makes the correct call and the coach sees it differently, then I'm going to go with the line judge. Why? Because that's what I saw as a referee. If I did not see the call, I have to trust somebody. I have to trust somebody. I'm going to get the information from either the line judge or maybe my R2. Okay. And I'm going to try to get as much information as possible before I make a decision. A lot of referees may make a replay because they're not sure. Sometimes you just need to stand up and make your call. Okay. If the line judge says, I definitely saw it in, trust your line judge. If you don't trust your line judges, chances are you might be on your own. You might be on your own. Because now they're not gonna support you at all, because if you don't trust them, then they're not going to be any use to you. So you want to make sure that you instill that trust in them. If you have a conversation with them during a timeout or between sets, or even pre-match, this is a great place for pre-match. You can let them know, hey, you know what? Make the call strong, make them positive, so everybody knows what's going on. And if I overrule you for whatever reason, you know what? I just saw something different. We'll still be friends, and it's nothing personal. It's just that I saw something different. We'll make the call and then we'll move on. Okay. Do you want, I forgot what I was going to say over my head. But kind of reading off the slide, quickly assess the knowledge and experience level of each line judge. Okay. Everybody is going to provide line judges their particular spiel, their particular speech, right? Think about this when you give your briefings to the line judges. How many times throughout the year are these line judges going to hear speeches from different referees? How many different speeches are they going to hear? Okay. And there's a philosophical difference here. Do you want to give them your full speech that would take 3 to 5 minutes? Or do you want to give them the short and dirty speech, of 1.5 minutes to 2 minutes, as long as you can assess what their knowledge is. Okay. If you can assess that immediately, then you're going to know where you're going to stand during the match. Okay. One of my particular techniques, and this is going to be a bit challenging right now, I'm going to adjust my screen. But one of the techniques that I use for line judges is when I get them together, and you want to make sure that hopefully you get all 4 line judges, okay, for your matches, okay, because chances are they're going to change between sets. Okay, so the first set you have 2 line judges. Second set, you're gonna have a second set of line judges. Maybe for the third set, if you're lucky, you might get 2 repeat line judges, or you might get a different set of line judges. Okay, so you want to try to get as many as possible together. One thing that I do to assess the knowledge of the line judges is I'll ask them, for me, I will say, okay, so you guys have been doing it for a long time, and they'll nod their head, and I'll go, yeah, you've been at it for what, 10, 12 years already. Well, these girls are probably 16. Okay, so I'll say, yeah, you've been at it for about 10 or 12 years, and they kind of go, yeah, sure. Okay, and then I'll go, okay, so all the cool line judge calls. And they'll go, yeah. And I'll go, okay. So, in, out, didn't see it, touch, right? Well, fundamentally, what was wrong with that picture? What did I just do? In, out, didn't see it, right? Or I'm sorry, touch, or didn't see it. Okay. So what I did is I mixed up the signals. And more often than, I don't want to say more often than not, but there are times when I get girls that have that blank face, and they go, Uh-huh. Okay, so at that point, what do? Do you just cut bait and let them go, saying and thinking, I'm going to be on my stand alone now? Or do you stop and try to fix it? For those girls that give you that look like, wait a minute, I thought this was out. Okay. And it's like, okay, fine. You picked it out. That tells me you're paying attention. That tells me you're paying attention. So you want to make sure that you assess the girls' knowledge of what they can do. Okay, and everybody and all the players know what the in and out signals are, so you really shouldn't have that big a deal with their mechanics. But you want to make sure when they perform the mechanic is strong and it's visible to everybody. Okay, sometimes you're going to have a girl standing with their hands folded, out, in, or sometimes they won't even look at you because they're too busy talking to their friends. Engage your line judges. Engage your line judges so everybody has a clue of what's going on. Explain they may need to move out of the way. Okay. The rule right here, or what they're saying, is about 4 feet back from the corner, 4 to 5 feet back. Personally, for me, 4 to 5 feet is a bit extreme. Okay. Just step back far enough, maybe just step back far enough where they're not interfering with the server's ability to serve. Okay, sometimes the server will start off the court if they're serving from the back left corner, excuse me, to the referee's immediate right. Sometimes they'll start off the court and then they will circle in and jump in the serving area. Okay, a lot of people have seen that already, so you're familiar with what I'm talking about. You want to have the line judge kind of step back just a little bit. Okay, 4 to 5 feet. How quickly are they going to move into place if that ball is served straight down the line? Are they really going to be in place to see it? Unless they're extremely proficient, probably not. But again, something you want to make sure that they do have a good position to watch the ball. Now, line judges, my particular technique for line judges is you have 2 lines to call. You have a sideline and you have an end line, and that's your responsibility. The sideline and the end line. If the ball goes out on the far end away from you, is that your responsibility? Nope. So you shouldn't be making an out call. What call should they be making? Because all the line judges are responsible for touch. If they see a touch and it doesn't matter who touched it, yes, make sure that they give you a touch call. Now, when I say make sure, you really don't want to delay the game by constantly looking at the line judge. If a line judge doesn't make the call, don't delay the game by trying to look at them and stare them down until they make a call. You know what the call is, make the call and move forward. At a timeout let me jump up here. Yeah, right here, during a timeout or between sets, call them over and try to re-engage them into the game again. Okay, try to re-engage them into the game. So now you guys are all working as a team again. The one slide that I did miss is you can see all the different line judge signals. Okay, and these are pretty much the same signals without flags. Hopefully this year we can get back to using flags because the girls seem to work a lot better and are more positive if they have something in their hand. Okay, and I've seen this throughout the year at multiple tournaments that girls just they're looking for the flags. They understand they can't have them, so they make the adjustment, and they're very accommodating with the in and out signals. But with the flag, the signals tend to be a little bit stronger and more confident. So you want to make sure that you engage the referees. Yes, sir. Anybody? Nope. Okay. I just heard a voice. I thought somebody was talking. Any questions regarding engaging line judges? Nope. Okay.
Hey, Steve.
Yes, ma'am.
Just so you know, I'm texting Sally and Tammy right now. Flags will be allowed this year.
Awesome. Okay. Very good. One thing that, let me see, where's the next slide? Okay. There was one comment that I read earlier in the notes that I do not see now. And I think it may be coming up later because I can't remember the slide, but I did talk to a lot of coaches, and again, this is by state adoption, but are we going to be changing sides again? Or a lot of the coaches that I talked to kind of actually like staying on one side. That can be changed. Is there any conversation or discussion about that? About just staying on the same side and not changing sides between sets? Anybody?
Either Tammy or Sally, you can unmute.
Has there been any conversation regarding that?
I'm going to defer to Sally. My understanding is that we will be able to revert back to our typical bench rotation, et cetera, but I believe that has to all be approved.
So at this time, we will be making that determination. Next week, we will be getting the governor's orders as to what changes. What you need to think of your mind as officials, that everything will be normal when it comes to the game of volleyball, the sidelines, the officiating, the changing of sides, unless we tell otherwise. So at this point, think in your mind that everything is going to go back to how it was in the 1920 school year.
The 1920 school year. Awesome, Sally. That was a long time ago.
Well, last year we want to erase last year, but anyway, yeah. So and there could be a few changes, but at this point I will not know the final say from the governor until next week.
Awesome. Okay. All right. So everybody, let's keep that mindset of what we did prior to COVID, and we'll be moving forward. Awesome. Thank you, ma'am. Okay. Coach and official communication pre-match. Everybody can see that it's preferable to have both referees walk in. You definitely want to try to be on site no less than 30 minutes. That's not always feasible. That's not always feasible. Somebody's running late from work or babysitting or running from another errand or get stuck in traffic. You know, if you're going to be late to the match, make sure you contact your partner. Always, always, always have the phone number of your partner available in your phone or know how to access it. If you're definitely going to be late, contact your assigner. Your assigner should be available, hopefully, if they're not working another match somewhere else. But it's always, like I said, it's always preferable to walk in prior at the same time. At what point should the referees introduce themselves to one another? You guys figure that out. Everybody travels together. Not even, you know, I'm not even going to mention that. But once you arrive, who's one of the first people that you want to look for when you arrive in the gym, right? The gym master. Okay. Who is going to be the administrator for that event? You want to make sure that you get a hold of the home management. Okay. And let them know who you are. Everybody's going to know who you are, but if you're not familiar with that particular school, you know, hey, coach, I'm Steve, you know, and your partner can introduce themselves. If there's any issues or any questions, where are you going to be sitting? Where can I find you if there is a problem throughout the match? Are you going to be sitting at the score table? Are you going to be in the corner, the left-hand corner, the right-hand corner? Are you going to be walking the bleachers? You know, where can I find you? That's always that the gym master is definitely your best friend. Because if something goes south during a match, you definitely want to make sure that they have everything in hand in their own gym. Right here it says the dialogue between officials and coach. When you're talking to the coach, you want to make sure that you are professional, even though you're friends. You've been friends for 25 years. One of the last things you want to do when you walk into a gym is see your friend of 25 years, go and give them a big hug. Probably not the best thing to do, because if you do it at the wrong time, now there's a perception from the visiting team of, okay, well, now I'm down 2-0. Okay, you definitely want to make sure that your dialogue with the coaches is going to be professional. Just reach out, handshake. If they want to give you a hug, keep that stiff arm out there and say, coach, not today. Okay, we can do it after the match. We can do it, when we're at the bar, whatever the case is, but right now it's not the time. And you want to make sure that you make that professional image. You want to present that professional image to everybody around, because it's nothing but perception. It's nothing but perception. And we want to stay away from any negative comments that could be made. When you're talking to the coaches, you want to make sure that you do not spend too much time with one coach. It is noticeable. It is noticeable. I've been guilty of that. I have been guilty of that. I'm talking to a coach and I've known them for 25 years, and we talking about family and how the vacation was and blah, blah, blah. And then I'm not familiar with the other coach, but I may spend 30 seconds with him. That definitely sends a big message. You want to make sure that when you're talking to coaches, equal amount of time. If you notice your partner is getting too chummy with one coach, you might want to go rescue them. Hey, Cedric, can you come over and help me with this? Or, whatever the case is, make sure that you, again, present that professional image. Let me see. We've established, obviously we want to establish a good rapport. This looks like, what does this look like? The coach is complaining about something, and there was one of the rules, I can't remember, one of the first 5 rules about not throwing your partner under the bus. Okay. One thing you definitely want to do is the good referee listens rather than reacts. Okay. You want to provide a quick response. What response are you going to give them? Okay, what response are you going to give them? If they're questioning a rule, please, please, please use the verbiage out of the rule book. If you use the verbiage out of the rule book, you can never go wrong. You can never go wrong unless you misstate yourself, but hopefully that's not going to happen. But you want to make sure that you do provide the verbiage out of the rule book. One thing I did hear from a coach, I provided him the same standard response that everybody gives, and the coach says, all of you referees say the same thing. Well, sometimes that's all we got. Sometimes that's all we got. If there is a safety issue, I said, coach, it was a safety issue. We have to make the call. And the coach said, all you referees use safety as your excuse. What do you say to that? How about nothing? Say, okay, coach, thanks for your input. We're playing on. And then you give the court back to the R1. Second referee, you have to learn to develop your repertoire of comments. Okay, so you can respond to the coach appropriately, be professional, and please do not throw your partner under the bus. Coach, I have no idea what they're calling. But we're going to go with their call. Or you can say, coach, give me a second. Let me go clarify what that call is. As a second referee, excuse me, as a second referee, you want to make sure that you understand you need to get into the head of your partner. If your partner makes a call, R1 or R2, doesn't matter. R1 or R2, doesn't matter. You want to make sure that you understand exactly what they're calling, so you can prevent that walking across the court or calling your partner over to say, what are you calling? I have no idea. Sometimes that's unavoidable, but try to minimize that. Know what your partner is calling so you can respond to the coach appropriately. There is there's something that, again, that I tend to do. Again, this is just a personal reference of what I tend to do, that what is the job of the second referee? What is the job of the second referee? To protect and serve. Okay, to protect and serve. And so usually the second referee will ask the first referee, what would you like from me? Okay, as a first referee, I'm going to ask that of my second. As a first referee, I'm going to ask, what would you like from me? Basically, what I'm doing is, what can I do as a first referee? What can I do for you to help you do your job better? It kind of works the same way. I need positive eye contact. I want to make sure that I don't miss anything on the court as an R2. So I want the R1 to help me out with the things that I cannot see as an R2. I hope that makes sense. Again, that's just a personal preference. All right, I think I'm running slowly out of time. Oh, here it is right here. Here's the comment. By stated options, I did mention bench rotation. Okay, so based on what Sally said, we're going to try to go with all the pre-COVID rules regarding bench rotation, and everybody should know what our stated options are for matches. Addressing uniforms, logos. This is a big deal. Logos can't exceed 2¼ square inches, and one logo is permitted on each piece of uniform. Right here, you can see that Under Armour is huge and Nike on the waistband. You're going to have Nike, 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 Nike. Unfortunately, they can only have one logo on the waistband if you can see it. Let's not be the uniform police and asking everybody to look at their waistband. Only if you see it. If you don't see it, let it go. Okay. Numbers. This is going to change for 2023. This number right here, you can see this number and this number 18 and 6 are legal numbers. Why? Because the numbers are clearly contrasting with the jersey. If you take a look at number 28 here, the number is not contrasting with the jersey. Short story is, without this lining, the outlining of the number, can you see the number? If the answer is yes, it's a legal number. Like number 6, you have a white jersey, black number, and the blue outline. Would you be able to see the number 6 without the outline? The answer is yes. Okay. Again, this is all going to be for 2023. Uniforms or uniform bottoms. Uniform bottoms must be of a like color. Okay. The girls can wear spandex. They can wear spandex pants. They can wear skirts, if you will. Okay. They must be like colored. They must be like colored. Piping is not allowed. Okay, so if you have black shorts and white piping on the side, and I can't think of the other term for piping, I think it was trim. Okay, if there is another color on the short that detracts from the primary color, it is an illegal uniform. Okay, but right now the girls can wear any length of short or pants as long as they are a light color of the rest of the team. Does that make sense for everybody? Any questions, comments so far? Are we good? Moving on. Again, when you're dressing an illegal uniform, what's the first thing you want to do? You want to make sure that you approach the coach. Approach the coach to find out if that player has a legal uniform that they can put on prior to the match. Right here, you can read for yourself, notify the coach about the illegal uniform. If the coach can't fix the problem and they only have 6 players, we want these girls to play. We want these girls to play. If they have 6 players only, then there will be a loss of rally, and then you contact the NMOA to let them know this is the situation that I had. If they have 7 players, guess what? That 7th player may not be able to play. because of the illegal uniform. It only, this rule only applies for 6 players only. Okay, are we good? Notify the coach first and then move forward from there. You don't want to go directly to the player and say you can't play because you have an illegal uniform. Don't do that, please. Make sure that we go to the coach. Okay, the last thing really quick is officials education, very near and dear to my heart. If you go to the nfhslearn.com, there will be areas that you can go to regarding your education. There are certain things you can download. You can look at video. If we are using e-whistles and you're not comfortable with it, you can look at a video regarding how to use an e-whistle. Okay, all the techniques. Everybody used it last year, so you should be pretty comfortable with that. There is a video regarding officiating volleyball alignment. Okay, so again, like you said, like you can see here, it is free. You want to make sure that if you can, take a look at that. If you're struggling with alignments, okay, it's a great video. At the same time, ball handling. Hey, Todd, how are you? Okay, so you want to make sure that you do understand ball handling. Ball handling is more critical than anything else in our game. Okay, but you can look at the video. And I am running out of time, so thank you very much for everything. I appreciate the time, the effort. If I may, Nate, one thing, what I would like to do is, give me 1 second, stop share. If possible, what I would like is everybody to unmute their microphones. I'll give everybody a couple seconds to please unmute their microphones. Please. And what I'd like for everybody to do is give a huge round of applause for Dana. And thank you very much.
Yay, Dana! Yeah,
For everything.
Yay, Dana.
Yay, Dana!
It's been awesome.
Love you.
All right. So
Best of luck, Dana. Thank you.
Yay, Dana.
hey, with that, if you can all mute, sorry. You can all right. With that, since we are short on time, if you do have any questions, feel free to email Sally, Tammy, or Nora, who still is our rules interpreter. Thank you, Steve, for presenting. So if you have any rules questions, you can email the 3 of them. So
Nate, before we sign off, I would like to tell the officials, I will know more next week, but it sounds like from my communication with the governor's office and the public education department, it sounds like officials who are unvaccinated will have to wear masks, and officials that are vaccinated will not have to. So I do not know if that's the way we're going. I'm pushing that everybody can be maskless, but that won't be my decision. That will be the governor's office decision. I will get that information to you probably by mid next week or the end of next week. They still haven't made the final decision, but it does sound like that is the way it's going for indoor sports. And with volleyball in the fall and it being an indoor sport, that might be the way it's going, but I'm not sure. I just wanted to put that in your ear right now, and I will finalize that to you by the end of the week.
Sally, this is Nora. I assume it's going to be just like it was with COVID, that we need to kind of wait to see what happens with each passing week. And you guys will always let us know, like you always do, if there's any changes, correct?
That is correct. So it will be the season will be ongoing as far as changes. But at the beginning of the year, I just wanted to make sure that you guys were prepared that might be what's coming down this week for the fall sports. I didn't mention it to basketball or anything because everything's so changing, but we're getting right up in the cusp of volleyball. And right now, the governor's office is really on that unvaccinated in the school setting, in indoor setting, to be mask wearing for unvaccinated.
Okay, thanks.
All right, thanks everyone. You'll log out of this session and you'll click on link number 2. We have Kaylee Kimura who will be speaking, tremendous speaker. So we will log off. We'll see you shortly.